Welcome once again to Gene Ho, and who's sitting there. And would you believe he's not watched the football match? You did very well, believe you me.
Well, you know what? I do keep up with it. I know about Messi. I know about Messier or when Messi, but it's the craziest thing. About maybe 3, 4 years ago, I cut the cord on all the cable and even the subscriptions online. So I don't really, I seem kind of isolated from the sports world in the past 2, 3 years.
Has
So.
it damaged you? Have you suffered because of that?
No, I do. I will admit, I do. I do watch some movies. I have a small subscription to a baseball channel that I can see some of the baseball. But other than that, I've separated myself a lot. Not for any reason except for maybe financially. It got so expensive to get all
Yeah,
the channels I wanted. So.
yeah. I know if you wanted to follow every football match in the United Kingdom, it's going to cost you about $1,400 a year.
Yeah, actually, the same way. I used to follow all the baseball, and I used to get a subscription to all the baseball games. That was very expensive, similar to $700 US, I think.
Yeah.
And then even much more, American football, the NFL, trying to follow them for the year or whatever is very, very expensive.
Can be
And
very,
so
can be
just kind of back off.
very addictive, can't it, Gene? Once you get
I, you
into a
know,
team.
I could easily get super involved with sports. And then really quick, Rodney, with a couple of years ago, when I followed the New York Mets, I had the whole series on it. It got to the point where it was affecting me emotionally. When I say that, if the team lost, I felt bad. If the team won, I felt good. And I said to myself, maybe I'm too vested in this because it's not my business.
Yeah,
These are grown men
yeah.
playing a sport. So I love sports, but I could see how easily I could get very involved with it.
It was a fantastic opportunity to get soccer introduced properly to the US. And
I think
wow,
I
it was a horrible cup final.
I think that is what was needed. As I said before in previous shows, the American people do not really spend too much time with watching football or American soccer, and I think this was good to see this because everyone got involved. The guy from watching the teams. I can't remember the guy's name with the long blonde hair. I mean, it fascinated America, and then watching the American team. I think this was good. I think this actually introduced or reintroduced what the fascination around the world with such a great sport.
Well, they lost that opportunity, and the country that covered itself in no glory, of course, the Argentinians. They've been masters of the black arts in soccer for years, and it came back to bite them. So we're very appreciative of Spain. Here, when they win football matches, car horns are going all night. Nobody sleeps. Fireworks are going. So that's good news. To get onto some not so good news, or is it? Trump's Save America. Now,
Yeah.
it does need saving in certain respects. Tell us about that.
Well, this is the all-in play that Donald Trump needs to do. He needs to get this passed. Now, part of the Save America Act, what's going on with it is it puts in certain safeguards that Donald Trump wants. Voter protections. When I say that, to make sure that the voting is done a certain way so that there is no, I would say, funny business going on. And that's the best way of saying it because there's a lot of loopholes, if I could say it that way, with the voting. So this is up now. It's up to I believe the House and the Senate. They're going back and forth, but I think it's going to get done because before it was going to be based upon a 60-40 vote in the Senate, which really wasn't happening. And it's being done a different way legally so that it could get passed with a simple majority in the Senate. So I think it's going to happen and it needs to happen, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, he's not asking Trump for anything that's unreasonable. He's just saying, prove who you really are, whether it's an ID card, personally turning up and voting. still preserving a postal vote for those who absolutely need it. That's not unreasonable.
It is not unreasonable, and these are the things that Donald Trump wants it to put into play. This is a very, very important midterms, and I'll just say it, if Trump loses either the House or Senate, it's the country will be stalled with the Trump agenda. They will slow it up because whoever is in power in the House owns or is able to select all the chairmanships. It's a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, he's been straight out saying the only reason you won't want it to happen is if you want to cheat. That's true, I suppose.
Well, there is many ways to game the system, or I wouldn't say many ways, but there's enough ways to game the system. We've talked about it before in our show at George Magazine, where ballot harvesting, which is legal, is one of those tools that the left uses to an expert degree. And so what Donald Trump wants and what many Americans want is basically let's have the election and just put certain safeguards in place. And I think it will happen, and it needs to happen, quite frankly.
With having so many states there and so many different laws, once again, one has to say the lawyers are interfering with democracy.
Well, the way it's structured in the United States, as you mentioned, each state has their own jurisdiction, so to speak, on how these elections are run, unless Congress puts in a law so that certain aspects of it has to be nationalized.
Yeah.
And that's what Donald Trump is doing in this case. Each state can do it their own way. If a state, to be honest, wants to say all paper ballots, then that's the state's right to do so. However, with this, it just nationalizes certain things so that each state has to follow the law when it comes to this, as for certain safeguards. And I do believe it will happen. I think it's something that needs to happen, and I think it will happen before the midterms, which would be good for Trump.
Yeah. From the UK, certainly, we've always had the opinion that if the states got rid of all their lawyers, they'd solve half their problems.
I don't think you're too far. I think that's universal.
It's certainly getting that way in UK and Spain, although the law in Spain has got very little teeth when it takes 6 and 7 years to get anything to court. Slow justice meaning no justice, of course. Anyway, let's move on to sadness, really, with Lindsey Graham very close to Donald Trump for years. And you were
Yeah.
as well.
Yes, as some of your viewers know, I was Donald Trump's campaign photographer for 2015 and 16. So I met Lindsey Graham after the campaign was over. I also did photography work for Lindsey Graham, so I had a chance to know him. Originally, I was from South Carolina, so his death comes with much impact for a couple of things. Number one, when it comes to that, he was Donald Trump's best ally in the Senate. He was the unofficial whip, which basically means when Donald Trump wants something in the Senate, he goes through Lindsey Graham, and Lindsey Graham does the back channel talking because he's very well respected in the Senate by both the Republicans and the Democrats. And unfortunately, it's very sad with his passing. But at the same time, it's really a big change for Donald Trump because he lost that important ally in the United States Senate.
Well, his sister now is in for a short time, Darling Graham, um, and it's probably a very good move. But there are certain people queuing up, I understand,
Right.
I'll name them: Pamela Abbot, Nancy Mace, and Ralph Norman are the three principals.
There is one more, I should say, one more in there. It's Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley was a South Carolina governor. She was very popular. Of course, you know, she ran against Donald Trump. Uh, Rodney, in the United States, there's are basically two different wings besides extremists. I hate to say it like this. Two different wings. One of them is the darling of it is Nikki Haley. A lot of her big donors are opposite of Donald Trump's big donors. They run in, they're both conservative, but they run in different circles. Now, what's going to happen, of course, is Lindsey Graham's sister is now officially United States Senator, but they have to have a primary. And so, will she be able to fend off the challenge from some of these other candidates that want to be United States Senator? And quite frankly, I don't know if she will, but amongst the strongest one of them all is Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley is extremely popular still in South Carolina. And so if she did want to run, there's your battle. And I could already see online the attacks on Lindsey Graham's sister. It's already beginning now that the shock is over.
Yeah. You've got quite an accolade here. I'll read it for you and make you blush. Your photographs caught the human element of a man, that's Lindsey Graham, who loved the camera, loved the political arena, and lived at the dead center of American power. Those images are now part of the permanent archive of a singular American story. That's nice.
Well, I believe I was, besides being Donald Trump's photographer, I believe I was the first person to take a picture of President Trump when he became president with Lindsey Graham. So I was the first person to do that because at the time I was taking pictures of Donald Trump and Lindsey Graham just happened to be there. And so it took a formal picture of them both. The thing that in some circles, especially in America and far right, they don't like Lindsey Graham that much. I think it's propaganda, but Lindsey Graham is a quintessential politician. He went against Trump at one time because they were both running for president, but then later on, he became one of Donald Trump's best allies. And that's the thing that most people forget. Now, going back to that, Rodney, if someone indeed like a Nancy Mace or a Nikki Haley would actually run for senator, that would be not a good thing if they won for Donald Trump because they are not as loyalists to Donald Trump as Lindsey Graham's sister will be right now. So this is a great loss for Donald Trump in the Senate there.
Yeah, see that. We're going back to the mail-in votes just for a little while. They are a real problem, both sides of the pond, actually. We've got the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, that's benefited from this, and electronic voting, indeed. Now, what is this? I mean, it's been going on since the lost election. And there were videos flying around social media saying the true vote was nearly 70% Trump and 50% Biden. Now, that's at one end of the scale. But there's got to be some truth in this. How can you get a grip on it?
Well, I think that's what the SAVE Act will do, is get a grip on many things. And I'll just explain again to our viewers here the legality of ballot harvesting. It's legal. There are rules to ballot harvesting, how you have to do it. But if a person knows exactly where, and we all know where certain votes are, for example, if they know that this area is filled primarily with Democrat voters, they can go in there and solicit people, say, just making sure, did you register to vote? Did you go in there and vote? We could fill it out and we could mail it in for you, or move it in there. It's called ballot harvesting, and it's legal in most places there. But by using ballot harvesting is one of those ways to, how can I say, game the system.
Yeah.
It would be no different locally if I knew where all the conservative voters are, and maybe there was a nursing home that was primarily all conservatives. I go in there, register to ballot harvest, and then collect these. There's certain rules. They have to be in by a certain time, but that's the way that they game the system. And unfortunately, that's some of these things will continue this way.
Are they tempted to send in the guerrillas and look at people in the eye who you're going to vote for?
I would imagine, hey, listen, I would imagine voter intimidation is very real. There's rules in the United States, and I've seen them firsthand. I've seen some of these rules being broken there, where they park themselves in front of a place, and they're not. Well, I'm so many feet away. They're supposed to be, but it's intimidation, and
Yeah.
that happens as well. I know firsthand that it that it that I'm laughing for myself, but it does happen. It really does.
Yeah. It'd be great for you to get some pictures of this, wouldn't it? Are you tempted to hide behind something and reveal all?
I'm laughing about it because I know without going into this show, I know firsthand how this type of intimidation works. Because if a person is in power and then they park themselves in front of a voting place and they see people and they see them and they know that they're not voting for them, they're on the list. I won't say it, but the S list. So it does happen in America in small towns and big towns, but it's a real thing.
Yeah. We love Mark Twain over in the UK. Some of his sayings are very apposite. I'll read one for you. Does this sum up America? Politicians and diapers must be changed often, and for the same reason. Yeah, that sums it up, doesn't it?
That I will make that into a tattoo and put it on my shoulder. It's such a good.
Yeah, we are that way in the UK at the moment and in Spain indeed.
Oh, really, and
Listen,
really quick, Rodney, with that, the truth of the matter is, because I'm involved in politics, I've seen politicians come in one way. They're reasonable and everything else. They get to DC and they have been totally changed from what we used to remember them from. I'm not saying necessarily, I'll just name names. I'm not saying it's necessarily good or bad, but Nancy Mace, my photo student, besides me working personally with Nancy Mace with the Trump campaign, this in 2015, my studio did the wedding of her brother. And I'm not saying, I mean, in many ways, because I'm likewise, I know Nancy Mace, I followed her career. She's very tough and so forth. She always was, but she went to DC. She's a completely different person. I'm not saying different, bad or good. I'm just saying she has changed. Very, very powerful, and she knows how to has a swagger. But this happens really in America that people go into the political system and they become a different person.
it's interesting that we've been covering a story this morning about Nigeria, and 72% of the Christians that are martyred in a year are martyred over there in Nigeria. And the president has recently been to visit our king, and nothing was said to him. And it's been further revealed that the president of Nigeria paid DC, the powers that be there, $10 million to whiten the fact that he, as a Muslim, was not being as judicious as he should be in clearing up the problem of these Christians being killed regularly in their church services. And that was a sort of PR exercise because DC is top of the list of polishing things, let's call it.
Yeah, Rodney, I think you may know this, but 2 years ago, George Magazine did a story in Nigeria about Nigeria. We actually had a reporter on the ground reporting and taking pictures of this. So 2 years ago, George Magazine put it out there. Now, last time, the United States, the government has already, or the military has already made some strikes there. I think maybe this was like a year ago. I haven't figured out recently what's going on there, but that is very dear to us here in not only the United States, but with Christians, but with George Magazine. We wrote about it 2 years ago with pictures for like a reporting with a report on the ground. So anyway, with your viewers, if you haven't, georgemagazine.com to follow all of that.
That's great. Lastly, the Supreme Court has decided what's a man and what's a woman, and especially in the sporting arena, and they're stopping the men dressed up as women, of course, entering changing rooms. It's taken a while for this to happen.
Yeah, public sentiment, I really do believe it. Public sentiment is still for the conservative ways of doing it with this, because these people that have been competing in women's sports have been dominating, like absolutely dominating it. And so there's you have that aspect of it, and it's regardless of what a person thinks about it, it has to do with fairness with this, and then with the Supreme Court and the things that Donald Trump has been doing. And however it is, I believe that the far majority, the sentiment of the United States is that that this is not right. This you see them competing, and it is really not right. It's unfair for the ladies that compete, because they're also getting robbed of having the scholarships that some of them get with that, because they're not winning some of these sports with the men's in it.
Finally, let's go back to football, because a lot of people were complaining about the rest time to take in some water in, well, both halves of the match. And then what we're not used to in Europe is the pop stars coming along and lengthening to half an hour, a quarter of an hour break at half time, whereby you can get your muscles in serious problems if you let things cool down. Quarter of an hour, you get away with it.
This is how it is to bring in the American people as viewers at that. We're used to the Super Bowl halftime shows and the music and the pageantry of it. I like you said earlier, I am glad it was a wonderful introduction to this sport in America, and I get it. We've been doing soccer here, football, for a very long time, but to see that excitement that the other countries love is quite frankly, it was very exhilarating here in the United States.
Which goes to prove that you're on a different planet over there to Europe. That's okay. That can be good.
I tell you, we had this discussion before. A lot of the top athletes here, they don't go into soccer. They go into playing the NFL or Major League Baseball or something. That's where the athletes are. But when you see something like this on the big stage, the younger people watching this says, okay, wow, this is exciting. This is even bigger than American baseball because it's on the world stage. And it's fascinating to see. And I'm glad it happened.
But come on, it's all about the dollar. You want the advertising while they're drinking. You want people to tune in. It's the dollar, isn't it, that drives it? Be honest.
I'm sure it is, because when I go to McDonald's, I see all the people, the stars, the soccer stars on the cups. I was like, okay, it's really happening here in America. It's wonderful.
Good stuff. Thank you, Gene. We'll see you very shortly.
Thank you so much.